Welcome back, fellow nerds. Today, we are going to be breaking down my theoretical thought experiment about the School of the Hornet. Now, there's already quite a few schools in the Witcher universe that already exist. You have the, of course, School of the Wolf, School of the Manticore, you have School of the Bear or the Ursine School, School of the Griffin, School of the Cat. But what I want to propose is a range-based Witcher class. Naturally, most Witchers don't use ranged weapons or bows. They have some magic they can do for ranged attacks, but they don't have anything specifically for the ranged units. So what I want to do is see, in addition to the sword, we can kind of workshop an idea as far as how ranged weaponry would work for a Witcher, what it would look like, the benefits it would have, and if it would in fact be an applicable option for someone alone hunting. So not all monsters in the universe are necrophages or grave hags or vampires where you have to go dungeon crawling and you'd be at a loss if you had to use a bow. A lot of flying creatures. They have the draconids, the wraiths, the harpies, which are the terrible ones you have to try to hit with your crossbow, and it just takes forever. So if we create a specialized class just to deal with those units that accept those specific contracts, I think it could work. Cool, as I'm calling the School of the Hornet has going for it, is the Witchers don't wear heavy armor anyways. School of the Bear weighs generally heavier armor. They have higher endurance and strength and such, but you're not going to stop a monster with anything like this. It's going to cut right through it. So you can say goodbye to your shields and say goodbye to your heavier plate armor, because it's not going to matter in that universe. So one thing I've talked about in great detail is the strength required to wield a warbow. This is my faithful 155-pound bow here, and you can see by the windup, it takes a long time for me to draw that arrow back. But what's the benefit? Well, you're sending something this thick downrange with that big of a tip. So there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to throw a silver tip on there to do some mad damage. One thing Witchers have in abundance, well, increased strength, increased reflexes, increased durability. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to take a bow like this and snap it back in rapid succession and get multiple shots off in a quick single motion, which I cannot. Still power. So I did do a video not too long ago about the max theoretical amount a Witcher could draw based off their weight was like 2 times as strong as a man. It's hard to say exactly how much stronger they are, but in reality, you get diminishing returns with a bow with certain draw weights. What you can do is fire a thicker arrow, so you're gonna have more mass impact at a similar velocity or similar speed. So it's gonna be very akin to, let's call it a human ballista. Example, the arrow size that I'm talking about, we have about a 1/2 inch right here. This here is closer to 3/4. Now this 160 can still push this hard down range, but if you were rocking a 200-pound bow and you still had the ability to do a fast draw on it, you would definitely do some work. This thing is straight massive. Ugh. It still comes off crazy fast. Now, when I did this video before, there were quite a few people that said, well, silver arrowheads would be expensive. Well, luckily, Witchers have amazing senses. So I figure you could coat your arrows or your arrowheads with a scent or a pheromone, and the Witchers would then be able to trace that. So you wouldn't be losing arrows left and right. You'd be able to track that afterwards. Basically just get your senses going, find your arrows, find your arrowheads, and they're gonna be relatively easy to repair also, which is a huge plus, because all you need is some wood and some feathers, and then you're basically on your way. Drop a theoretical mission for the School of the Hornet. Let's say you go into a town, you see a sign on the board. It's stating that there's griffins around. You realize this is my contract. They're perched up high, I can climb, I'm light, quiver full of silver arrows here, and I'm gonna do some stalking and some hunting. You, of course, being a good studious Witcher for the class of the Hornet, realize that this bow here is probably not gonna cut mustard. It's 150 pounds. You think I may need something bigger, so then you get your other bow. The good thing about wood is it travels light. So we got our 165-pound bow here, and we're gonna see if that's gonna be enough to get through the thick skin of the draconiod. Out on the hunt, and it's picturesque right now. Suddenly you see up ahead what looks to be a lesser draconiod. Use your enhanced speed, senses, and strength. Knock your arrow, all your muster. Loose with your silver arrow and punch into its hide. The other great thing is, let's say it takes to the sky, let's say you just wounded it, it can still fly. You don't have to worry about bringing it back down or trapping it with a sign. You can just get another arrow lined up with your enhanced strength, speed, agility, perception. Kick another one at it. Now, I'm sure you can see from my expression that pulling this thing back is no small feat, and that's where that increased strength would come into play, because you would literally be able to, like, Lars Anderson fire a bow like this, and that's just sending like a 1/2-inch shaft, maybe larger, downrange, and the impact to that is going to be 200 to like 300 joules of impact. So it's going to give anything a second pause. You could also use range to your advantage finally, because there's a lot of times you sneak up on something, you have the element of surprise, but if the only option is melee, you can't really capitalize it. But if you get up to a high point, scope out your target, do all that from the comfort of your own little perch. Lastly, and I think the most important thing, is you can apply oils to your arrows. Now, oils are great, but you have to have them on your sword, and you have to get close enough for them to do damage. But if you're able to apply it to your arrow, you could start doing degradation damage over time by simply loading up that bow, putting the oil on the arrow, don't miss, and loose. Monster has armor plates as strong as steel. Well, now that may not be enough to kill your monster, but if you have oils on your arrows, that's gonna be enough to poison it. It's gonna start slowly losing health over time, and then you just pick it with some more arrows. It's gonna punch through every time. You're gonna weaken it, and then you got your contract filled. Sidearm would you have? Well, I would reckon a dagger would be pretty great. A silver dagger. You'd have it inside, easy to carry. You can move with it, move quickly with it. Worst case scenario comes, you can definitely throw it. You can throw it like that. Oh man, just for sneaking up on things. I mean, you have heightened senses anyways and speed, so you can move around quietly and quickly if there's something up ahead, or even dealing with humans, because they're basically like minuscule in that universe. You really don't need much to take them down. If you're a witcher, you can use your signs, you can use anything to basically clear the path. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of things I did or did not think of that you guys may have a critique or an idea for. I'd love to hear about it, but barring any disaster, I say School of the Hornet should officially be open. If you guys want training details, let me know. Not really, because it's more of a joke, but just a fun thought experiment. Again, this is just nerding out, so I hope you guys have as much fun thinking about it as I did, and let me know what I didn't think of and what would be better or worse for this particular school.